Yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a tutti.
What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC. Victory Monday is here upon us. Big win for Juventus, getting the job done. And hey, we'll take the points. But of course, we got a lot to talk about in terms of the performance and everything. Say what's up to everybody here. I got Anthony with me, ready to cover this one. Jace KP coming in here. Shatterstar saying, ciao, Alberto, I'll take the win, but we still are toothless in attack. We'll talk. Tal saying,
we're
big
talking.
3 points. Let's fucking go. Absolutely. Let's go. Big 3 points at the end of the day. That's what we'll take. But of course, there's always more than just the results to talk about and some stories in the aftermath. We got some news today as well. And so... real quick, obviously Locatelli looking for his extension to get finalized to 2028. We've got Rodrigo De Paul again linked with Juventus.
Lex
and
FC
the
is happy
headline
about
saying
that.
he is a concrete option. We'll take a look at that after we recap the match and whatnot. Outside of that, as far as news goes, no, pretty light, but there's a lot to tackle about this game yesterday and a lot of mixed feelings and whatnot, because at the end of the day, Juventus is 7 points higher than we were at this point last season, which is a positive. There are some positives in there, but we're going to break down this game, and I had the pleasure of joining my friends at the JOFC Vancouver at the Sharks Club there, and I got to say huge thanks to the group there. Pietro, the president, wasn't able to attend because James was getting married. Again, congratulations to my man James. And Silvio was fantastic. I finally met our friend Reno from Calcio with Reno, and Max, meeting him for the first time. Just a great group of people. I thank you for your hospitality. I had a blast. We'll do it again. Now, the game. We got our lineups. We all were saying the same thing. We could use a little bit of creativity in there.
Sure.
Okay. We were having the same feeling. We'll get to it. It was Chesney, Gatti, Bremer, Rugani. We'll talk about Rugani after.
100% we're going to talk about Rugani.
Wea, McKennie, Locatelli, Rabiot, Kostic, Keane, and Milik up top. Okay? So everybody was feeling kind of the same way. We got to get this. Where's the creativity going to come from? I said, well, I'd expect it's probably going to weigh heavily on Wea in that game. Kostic. McKennie would probably have to push forward and help.
I called out Milik before the game.
Yeah. Well, let's get into this.
Yes, sir.
Game starts off. We had a good chance, probably 6 to 8 minutes, I believe it was. I didn't get the exact time on it because for whatever reason they didn't put it in the highlights. Probably because this shot was smashed into Big Mac. Right into his chest from Wea on a nice low cross that was coming right across the top of the area, and that one looked like it was gonna be trouble. It could have been goalwards. I don't think Marante would have stopped it if it was on target, but it was elevating, so it would have been hard to determine whether or not that was going. But it looked like a really good chance.
He would have saved it.
Ripped off Big Mac there, and he felt it, and at least that gave me some. Good feelings, at least that he felt that one for blocking it. But nonetheless, get to the 14th minute. Leao's just,
he's a problem.
Oh, yeah. He really is. What did we say in the pregame? Do not let Pulisic or Leao run at you. Get a hand on them at all time. Like, tug the shirt a bit. Like, just give him the business. Like, don't let him run at you. If you let him do that, it's going to be a nightmare in trouble. And it was. And 14th minute, he gets a cross in here. Giroud did incredible on this one because the pass is kind of behind him. Nice touch ahead. Rugani's all over him. Like, Rugani's right there with him. Step for step. Slides down. The shot goes under him. A tech fingernail. This is a massive save.
Caught it with that one right there.
Absolutely massive save here from Tech. If that goes in, we know what the story is on Juve when we go a goal behind. So I can't...
You want the numbers?
Okay, let's
It's a
refresh
lot.
everybody's memory.
You keep going. I'll get those numbers for you.
This is, for that reason alone, this save is even amplified. It's already a fantastic stop from Tech. To see this through Rugani, okay, going through his legs, and then to get down that quick because he was in tight. Massive, massive save for Tech. And this is kind of the funny thing about Tech is because he'll make something like this, and then randomly one game he'll just let Napapara go. But
So last season when we went down 1-0, we were 1-5-15.
yeah,
1 win, 5 draws, 15 losses. This year I
it,
think we're already 0-1 when we go down 1-0.
yeah,
I think it
and
was a Sassuolo game.
it's a trend that we don't want to find out about. So massive, massive stop from Tech there, huge, huge. 23rd minute. Milik gets a free kick that hits the wall. Kostic follows it up, strikes one, but Mirante he wasn't really sure if that one was going wide or not. 33rd minute, we get through with Rabiot running behind the defense, but his shot always going wide there to the back
Shot,
post there.
cross,
40th minute, and this,
shot.
like I was saying leading up to this, while there was frustrations with Keane in terms of ball control, the guy was all alone anytime he got the ball. Anytime him and Milik got the ball, it was like they were alone, and they had to deal with like 3, sometimes 4 Milan players. So it's like I wasn't so much frustrated with them per se, and I actually thought that Keane was moving really, really well and doing some good things. 40th minute, turns Chow like wonderfully, and gets hauled down, instant red, ref all over it. L'arbitro Nick hammering this one. This ref, we talked about him, and one of my side bets on the game was minimum 5 cards in this game. We finished with 6, one of them being a red card.
There you go.
And Nick said, overall thoughts on Mariani. Overall, a well-controlled match, especially considering the only card in the first half was a red card. Some harsh but supportable yellows on Way and Locatelli were likely to compensate for the red. Gatti was fortunate to not get booked earlier for persistent infringement with all the fouls on Leao. First off, what does everybody think about that assessment on the ref? Like, I actually thought he was fine. I thought
He wasn't part of the story.
Yeah, he wasn't a part of it. The red was spot on. It was perfect. We'll get to the explanation there for anybody that thought, because there was going to be arguments from the other side and whatnot. But
I didn't see very many.
That's a straight, easy red. So with Nick, it's real clear cut. There are 4 things you look for, all to be met for red card. Direction, Keane was moving towards goal. Defenders, there's no other defender that can intervene there. He gets around, it's him and Mirante. The distance to the goal, 25 meters, certainly close enough that he had a chance on goal. And then the distance to the ball, he was definitely getting to that ball. He's right around him. It stopped short there. Would have been perfect. So it's all clear there for denial of goal scoring opportunity and correctly shown the red card. Now, we got to talk about this as we get into the second half. We did get a great opportunity after this Rabiot setting up Keane. I have no idea how that doesn't go in the net. No idea. And I feel for him because I thought he was doing good and moving well and creating some problems, and that's got to get in the back of the net. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, right, Ann?
My thing is, he did a lot of good work. That's your job. Your job is to put that in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of pauses, but at the end of the day, he's got to put that in the back of the net.
He's got to put it in the back of the net. Apex coming in here, number 39 load away. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Kostic. 0 crosses, all aimed to Calabria.
Kostic.
Yeah. Calabria would have looked like he went into a match with Ric Flair getting knife edge chopped to the chest. Well, a lot of them were low and stuff, but like I saw that tweet from Davide there, and I was laughing my ass off. It was hilarious.
Was it with the
Alex
white shark?
saying
The
ref
great
was
white
10
shark?
out of 10. Man, so this first half for me, until that red card, still not enough from Juve. And we said it going into the game, like that midfield that Milan was playing, there's absolutely no reason we should be surrendering so much to them, okay? in retrospect, another thing we talked about, not letting Leao run at you. And there was a couple instances where Gatti was trying to get in tight. He still got turned by Leao. So Leao's just a problem, okay?
He is a problem.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Man, a lot of people want to dump on Gatti, but again, I don't watch a lot of other teams play, so I don't watch a lot of Leao. But you hear the hype about this guy. He is a very good player. Like he is a handful. Just his speed alone, not even getting the skill, like the way he was turning Gatti here and there, but that guy's a problem. And for the most part, I thought Gatti did okay, considering he wasn't red carded in that game because he was fouling him all over the field.
Gatti, McKennie, Weah, they were all trying their best. Like Gatti, it's hard to rip on him for Leao. That's been doing this to other defenders all around the league. Like it is what it is. Like the guy saw it. And like I said, what's your best strategy? Getting in tight, little tug, little bit of the business. Gatti tried that a couple times and it wasn't looking so good. So it was like, okay, at one point, do you just back off and try to contain at least? And that's what we tried to do. And for the most part, everything else was covered very well. Outside of that Giroud opportunity, they were going to get a couple opportunities at back post, but Rugani ended up clearing those. So at the end of the day, Milan didn't get a whole lot outside of that Giroud opportunity early on. Then, of course, this red card changes things up. Pulisic has to be sacrificed so they can get another defender on. He was visibly frustrated, and rightfully so, because he's getting taken out for nothing on his own doing. That was a big, big boost to Juve. And again, this is our feelings, I think, going out of halftime. We get that great opportunity for Keane, should go 1-up, but that first half could have easily been 1-1, because if that Giroud opportunity goes in, Keane's got to bury that, but we need so much more in terms of our play. And we're 11v10 now going in the second half. You got to take advantage. Have to take advantage, come out, foot on the gas, and get the job done. See this one through.
Were you expecting changes at halftime?
For Juve? No, not really. Not right at half, but I was like, man, the second you can get Chiesa in, let's see this game across the finish line. You know, even Vlahovic, whatever. Like the second you can get some killers in there, let's do it, right?
When did Vlahovic come in? This 60th, somewhere around there.
I'm just pulling it up right now. So Vlahovic came in at
58,
the 56th minute. Cambiasso also came in the 56th minute. I love those substitutions.
Completely changed that side.
Yeah, and Kostic. Again, it's very, very frustrating from Kostic in terms of just immediate crossing and not reading plays or even getting it by the first guy. But regardless,
there was a couple there. There was a couple there in the first half where I think it was Rabiot was with him on the side in the corner, and like Rabiot did the overlap, played it back to Kostic, and his first touch was to switch it over. It's like,
yeah.
Like play it back out, and
we get in here second half,
really frustrating.
And again, it's a lot of just not very convincing from Juve, even with the man up. But in the 63rd minute, we're building the ball around. Weah had actually started moving freely with the extra man, left side, right side, and he finds the left side, slots it over to Locatelli. Locatelli's thinking hit immediately, and yeah, start firing. And I actually like that about Loca in the second half because he was ready to fire from everywhere if he had a line of sight on goal. He hits this one. It hits, I believe it was Krunic, and deflects. Mirante's already diving out of the way. Get in there, okay? 7 years to the day, almost to the minute of when he scored against Juventus. He scores against Milan, and you could see what it means to him. He needed a goal in a bad way, as it's been a long time just in general for him in scoring. Love to see it. Lost our minds there. And again, just don't let up. Don't let up because Milan, and this is what was frustrating, still looked like they could find one even when we were one man
ugly
up.
one. Yeah, I put it in the group chat. I'm like, this has 1-1 written all over it. But credit to Locatelli ripping it from that distance. That was our first shot on goal in the 60th minute.
Yeah, and that symbolizes something. And here we go with JSKP saying, well, with all due respect for Milan, if we test a third Milan goalie first time at 60 minutes, something's wrong. Not just
Everybody saw this coming
Milan's third keep, just testing a
in
team,
general.
period, in general. For the 60th minute, something is not going correctly, okay? But here we go. We finish up. We get a few opportunities here. For the most part, we shut down Milan, okay? But there were some moments where they could have countered us, and Leao was running at the center of defense there, and it took some interventions there. 85th minute, Vlahovic forces a stop from Mirante, a good stop there from Miretti, actually doing pressure. When Miretti came in, he looked good again,
He
and
looked
he was
good,
applying a lot of pressure, was winning the ball. This one gets stopped on Vlahovic, and then in the 91st minute, Cambiasso, a shot from the top right, rebound, and Vlahovic gets absolutely stonewalled from Mirante. Take everything in the net, Vlahovic. Take the keeper in, take whatever, just chip it, do whatever you got to do. That's got to go in the back just to seal it. But
he went with power there. I think a lot
yeah.
of people were saying he should just like kind
A
of.
little-
But when
a
you're
little
running at
dink
full
there.
speed, you like to your point, you want to put him, the ball, the net, and the defender through the net into the stands. I get it, but
yeah. But
probably should
still,
have finished that one.
just you can hammer it like that, but up.
Yeah.
That guy's not jumping up off the ground. He's just going to come literally across. But
Credit where credit's
it's
due.
a bang play, super fast speed. It's
Good
it's
save.
fun.
It was
At
still
the
a
end of the
really
day,
good save from the keeper.
It didn't cause us problems. 1-0 Juventus. And this didn't end up with, unless you had it on your bingo card, the jacket toss, the tie toss, Max
Stupid.
going mad Max. Anth, what's your reaction to this?
So stupid. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what? I put it on Twitter. He looks so childish. Like, what are we doing here? Like, keep that stuff in the change room. Like, what? I know it was funny like 12 years ago, but it's embarrassing. Like, what are
Did you
doing?
see the photos of the players' reactions on the bench?
Yes, I did. Like,
yeah, it's a little bit much. Now, I was on watching it. I'm thinking, why are you losing it like that? Like I go there.
he had a point. His point was, if you want to get into what his point was, we weren't. Go ahead.
The guys were spending too much time on the ball, and it was going to give them an
Not moving the
opportunity
ball.
for a counter. Okay, but when I'm watching it, I'm like, it's not necessarily that so much as something that has happened every single time your team has
Every
tried
game.
to manage a game for as long as I can remember during your second tenure. And that's and to be fair, not just him, Pirlo, Sarri as well. Every time this team tries to manage a game, okay, they fucking stop moving their legs. And they want to just stand still in one spot. Eventually it gets to a player that has no options and has to dribble. And then Max frickin' loses it because they're holding on to the ball too long. Well, you got to sort that out long before it gets to a game like this against Milan. And dude, this is not the first time this has happened. And that's why I kind of get frustrated, because it's like, what on earth? Like, stop losing it and start fucking fixing it.
Yeah.
Like, enough's enough. And
Like,
if
how's
these
a
guys
kid
can't
like-
figure it out, I fail to believe that these guys can't fucking figure that out. But
You have two teenagers on the field, right? Who are playing
Yeah.
like Houston. Houston came in
well, yeah.
cold as ice. Like, what is he supposed to take from that? Miretti came in playing well. I think he was getting upset that Miretti wasn't holding the ball. Like, what are we doing here?
He was also, kind of getting upset that, like, I believe it was like McKennie was going in deep and trying threw a couple crosses too, and that kind of got him firing into. It's like they're looking for the second to seal it, whatnot. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not really upset. I'm more upset like if we're in game management time, we start getting plugged back all the way to Tech, because then a turnover and they're gonna come at us. And Leao was looking dangerous all game. I'm more upset, okay, with the fact that we did little at even strength against this Milan side with a midfield that I don't find impressive whatsoever. Their midfield in that game. That's what frustrates me more, is that we still, for the most part, don't look to have an understanding in the attack or how to hurt teams. And we went in there and we were shelled up. And that's, for me, more frustrating, because you're not going to bank on a red card every time you play these top teams. And at the end of the day, you got to get the job done against these guys too in the big ones. But these other ones, these other matches, like we were talking about last year, and we'll get into it, how we feel about the run and everything. But for me, it was largely still a frustrating game. Very happy for the win, but not necessarily happy with our performance per se.
The best way to sum it up was this, and I have to use a proper terminology here, but that game was essentially a meme, two idiots fighting. That's what that game was. It was two
Yeah.
idiots fighting in the middle third, between the 18-yard boxes.
Yeah. I need much more. I need much more from Juve, to be honest. And even when we were up a man, Milan was still controlling like sections of the play, and I'm like, guys, what are we? And low, we were so low on pressure on the ball, and it's like they're one man down and pressuring the ball quicker and better than Juve is. Like, and I'm sorry that like to bring it down,
We're
because
happy
overall
for
this
the
is
win.
Victory Monday, and it's
We're happy for the win, everybody.
ecstatic for the win.
It's fantastic.
But if we start talking about this team and wanting more than just top four, and this conversation came up a lot yesterday, okay? But and we're gonna get into it, and it's about Juve and where we finish and what our thoughts are. But real quick, we do have to get to the official fan club sponsored man of the match for this game. Tough pick, I thought. Like, just not necessarily because there were so many involved, but like just tough in general to really hammer down one with my feelings on the game. But I have narrowed it down to probably two, and we're gonna kick things off with Ant and his man of the match in this one.
Honorable mentions. Tech had to make one save. That was a big save, but he's an honorable mention. Rugani, I don't know if we want to get into that now, but there was a stat that came up after the game from the Kickist.it. When he starts from the first minute, in the past two seasons, Juve have only conceded one goal in 8 league games when Rugani starts. I think the Rugani hate can stop for now, for a little bit.
Well, who's still hating him? He's been solid for a couple of years now. Stop hating on the guy.
Man of the match, I'll go with Locatelli because he put the ball in the back of the net. He finally shot. The first guy to shoot on goal got my man of the match.
I'm going to say this. I was actually very, very pissed off with Locatelli, especially leading up to that goal. He was just holding the ball for so long and felt like no pressure on him, and was luckily a lot of them ended up in fouls for Milan, but it's like, man, where's your sense of urgency? Where like, and he wasn't the only one guilty of it, but what did I say at the start of the match? The guy that was going to get the armband was going to have a game and actually lead, because I want our captains to lead on the pitch. I thought Rabiot had a good game, a very, very solid game. I was happy with him. I thought he was in the mix. I actually thought Weah, for our lack of creativity and lack of everything, I actually thought had a good game, was making good reads, was moving the ball good. It was his ball that was set to Keane, in which he dummied and whatnot. Thought it was between
he
those
took a
two.
huge shot from Florenzi on that pass too.
Yeah. If I had to pick two, and this is a tough game to pick a man of the match, really, I'd probably say it's between Weah and Rabiot for myself. And if I had to give the edge to one of them, probably Rabiot, just in what I saw from him in that game. He set up a lot of our few opportunities. He was in the middle of and making good runs beyond Kostic, giving him options up that flank. So I'll give it to Rabiot. Alex Juve saying Rugani, Weah, Locatelli, Rabiot for man of the match. There you go. We can even split it evenly across all of them. Now, we were talking about the discussion that came up a lot yesterday in terms of just Juventus in general and how we feel about this title run. And can we do this? Is there enough there for Juventus? And we're looking at this game yesterday, and I just say, this is the game that gives me the doubts, because it's like I'm still not seeing enough. Like, can we shithouse our way to a title? Because that's a shithouse game. It is what I called a greasy smash and grab tight affair that we come out victorious. I was calling 2-1, but it ended up being 1-0. But is there enough there? Are we actually evolving? Are we growing? Like, is there enough there to get the job done and see this over the finish line? Ant, where are you at on a confidence level? How do you feel about this team and making that run?
I just wanted to check the schedule real quick when we were playing Sassuolo. Who did we start in that game? I wanted to see our lineup
Because I'll tell you
because
this right now.
yeah,
My initial reaction was some fans yesterday were nervous about top four. I have zero nerves about reaching top four.
fully
Love to
agree.
hear from the chat here on this one. Like, is anybody actually thinking we won't get top four? Because I have no fear whether or not Juve is going to be top four. But if we're talking about a title run and actually getting in there, I I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Now these big ones aren't going to be the ones that always decide it. It's more making sure you take care of the sure pointers, the ones that have to be victories, you know. Next game's up against Verona for Juventus, that has to be 3 points,
Yeah, where
right?
do they
It's
sit? They
those ones. You
stink.
can't slip up on the banana peels. And I
Yeah,
don't know if we're
so
going to be good enough. Go
yeah,
ahead.
so for the top four, like so Fiorentina's currently sitting in fourth. They're slowly becoming the clown show that was Atalanta, so they'll fall off. Sorry, Lex. I know you got something for that team, but they'll fall off. And then Napoli will take their spot in the top four. So we're 6 points clear right now of seven, so being outside of Europe. I just see the top four sort of finding the water finding its level, which it's starting to do. I don't see the title run. We can put a lot of questions in. Like we didn't look fantastic yesterday. Inter looks good. Inter's firing. Napoli had to slip up. Like you said, Napoli's had their banana peel games. How many more they're going to have, I'm not sure. Milan, this is a one-off. They have half their roster injured.
Yeah.
So good on Juve for getting the points away from home when we could.
Yeah.
But this is a good point.
There's a lot of good points coming in here. So this is a first one. I do believe we can be in that mix still by the
Yes.
time January 1st rolls around. The Mercado opens January 2nd. And we need a good signing. We get the right signing, that can change things a lot. Dell's another good point. Title might be a stretch, but Max does have an uncanny ability to get 3 points without deserving it. So maybe.
We also have the uncanny ability of absolutely shithousing our way to 0 points when we should be getting 3.
We're definitely getting top four. I still don't see us winning this one. You never know, though. Alex Juve saying the Inter game, late
That'll be a big
November,
one.
the 26th, I believe, will be a true metric to see if we can tackle the Scudetto. But top
And that's
four,
the first game. That's the first game back from an international break, right?
yeah.
We talked
But
about that
everybody's
yesterday.
feeling top four is like, I'm not worried about top four. There are still some fans yesterday at the watch party that were feeling like maybe top four is not a certainty. I don't feel that way. But yeah,
Need case on the field.
Samardzic and Sancho. Samardzic, I'm all for. Sancho, I'll take it, but I'm not big on that move. But I do believe a midfielder and a forward is what we get. So some mixed feelings on Juve and being able to cross that finish line come season's end. But the way things are setting up, I think it's going to be tight till the end, and I think we'll be in around there. Could we be setting ourselves up for the second coming of the Cinque Maggio? Maybe, everybody, maybe. Now, in terms of other performances, Huijsen, this kid, and the first thing I said as Max there at the watch party, he's like, who is this? Like, I don't even know who this guy is. Like, and I'm like, well, he's an 18-year-old that's like highly touted. A lot of interested teams in him, and obviously he's with Juve. They signed him to an extension right away. And I said, the one thing I could say about him, and I don't know how he's going to react here, is it's his debut, and it's Milan, and we're 1-0 up. But the one thing that always stands out to me is when you watch him, he doesn't play like an 18-year-old. I said he's very poised. He's poised well beyond his years already. And he goes, oh, that's interesting. I go, take that for what it is, but just I'll be interested to see what you see and how you take him. Man, exactly that. He was poised.
Yeah.
He kept it simple.
Poise is a kid who goes up to his prom date's door and not shit himself when his prom date comes out in a miniskirt. This kid has ice water through his veins, man. This kid is unbelievable. You know what I mean? And Romeo Agresti was talking about him on this show last year because you were saying who are some of the, I think it was last summer. You're saying
Yeah.
who are some of the prospects, or even Mirko was saying it, and they're both saying this is the next kid who's going to be the starter coming out of next gen in the Primavera in the first team. Now Yildiz beat him a little bit, but like long term, Hoysen's a guy. He's hopefully they sign him to another extension. He's going to be here a long, long time.
Yeah. And I will say this,
Doesn't
like
panic. Like
yeah, it's just it's keeping it simple, but it's also the just the little things too. And it's like that barge on the shield on the sideline, giving the guy the business,
beautiful.
beautiful, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken all those opportunities, and he did, and he let everybody know when he was around. He got squared up one time out on the sideline, and he just like the low socks are what
The low
get me.
socks.
So
That's what I was gonna say too. Yes.
the low socks, when the camera pans in on this kid and he's squaring up on the player out on the flank there, and I'm like, it looks like you're gonna have to run around a house because it makes his legs look that much longer. He's already
Yes.
like got a pretty tall build, long build.
6'4", I think, or something.
Man, this
6'3",
kid's
6'4".
he's still gonna grow. He's 18. Like he's gonna be an absolute beauty. One definitely that we're gonna enjoy watching. But that's
The
a
low
solid
socks is the
debut.
best.
He showed us quite a bit, and the low socks make his legs look like a mile long. So I love that. Locatelli, we got to talk about Locatelli. Obviously set to get a contract extension. We see him breaking down at the end of the game, and I don't like seeing that in these moments because it's just at the end of the day a game against a rival and whatnot. But he's taken a lot of criticism and stuff like that. I don't really know the exact things, and we got to take everything with a grain of salt, even what he's talking about afterwards. But Max even alluded to it, how much criticism he takes and how much he bears because of his desire to be, he wants to be a key figure at Juve. And I think he knows that he's capable of more and hasn't been able to bring it consistency. I think that he breaks down because he feels that some of that criticism is warranted. That's just kind of how I see it. At the end of the day, though, I believe Loca can do it. And this ties in our conversation yesterday when we were saying, who takes the captain's armband? Who do you believe should take the captain's armband and whatnot? And I said, we kind of had our doubts about Rabiot, but I said he's got to show it in this game if he's going to get it. Because for me,
Did he show
it's
it?
Kinda. But I did have him as a man of the match. I thought he did his job and a little bit more. Pretty good yesterday. So I was okay with it. Locatelli, I said yesterday, I don't think he's there yet because you don't get the consistency and you don't get enough influence from Loca. You know? Do you agree with that? What do you think?
Do you
How did
think
you see that
I
performance?
saw some people put on Twitter there yesterday on the? Can we still call it Twitter? Twitter? Are we allowed to?
I still call it Twitter.
Yeah. Okay. So
Like we're
Anna Mesh
tweeting.
has
We're
a great
not
question
Xing.
here.
Like what's X? Like X.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Sound like OnlyFans. So maybe we want to save Anna Mesh's question here for Storm the Barn at the bottom here. Yeah, so Locatelli, somebody was putting on Twitter, it was very interesting. Based on our inability to play to the back when the other team presses our defenseman, forces him further back towards the defense to have to collect. So he's almost playing like another center back. That could be affecting his play. I really want to see him, to your point, in that with the two-man pivot. I really want to see that with someone right beside him. We haven't seen it. When we have seen it, we saw it in spurts. I think it was the beginning of last season when we saw it. He looked great. So I'm not gonna crucify the guy for saying don't extend him. I think because he's only 26. Like he's not. It's not like he's 32. Like we still got a long way to go. Fully has the capability to become a captain of this team.
Yeah, he has a capability.
He has the capability.
And like I say, I just don't think he's there yet. And it shows
I agree with that.
the leadership thing around. Hey, there came a time where this roster, you could pick probably almost a starting 11 of guys that were worthy of captains. We come a long way. We got to get back.
Quite the opposite now.
Old Heart Rossonero in here. Good games for yesterday. I'll see you in Torino. Season is still very long. Any Milan player impressed you yesterday? To be honest,
Leao.
Yeah, the same that always impressed. Leao. I think Tomori is a great back. Like
I thought taking Pulisic off was a mistake.
So to Milan's side, and it'll be interesting to see the Juventines thoughts in the chat. So you've got to make up for Chiao getting sent off there. What do you do if you don't pull Pulisic?
No idea. You're the expert. I'm just saying that he was already a problem. He was pinning us deep on that side.
Yeah,
Uh
it's tough because they like Giroud and a target man up top there. Pioli wanted to keep a target at least up
mhm.
there, right? It may be, to your point, get a little more versatility, but you lose targets unless it only solely becomes Leao there, in which he was still doing from the flank. He just wasn't a target right up at the top. But Pulisic, I said, was going to be Pulisic and Leao were going to be problems. They can attack you from both flanks. You can't let either one of them run at you, right? There was a lot
Frankly,
of criticisms.
Leao was a problem up until the 85th minute.
Oh
80th minute.
yeah,
Like he was showing flashes. Like you can't leave him alone for a minute.
no, you absolutely can't. You absolutely can't. Now, we were talking about Hoyson here, and Animesh comes
Mhm.
in. You guys can firestorm the barn questions whenever you want,
Do
everybody.
it.
Fire away.
Start it now.
And we got to talk about this, but we're also going to talk about another defender too, and that's Rugani. But first off, does Hoyson start another match before Danilo comes back in a few weeks?
No. No. Just simply because I got to see who we play.
So
Gatti, Rugani, and Bremer were fine. They were fine back there.
we get to this that was brought up yesterday in the AJC Army members chat. All right. And it was Tony Trim saying that we need to get this kid way more minutes and get him developed into a starter or whatnot. And I disagreed for the fact that we're only in one competition. All the points are critical. I'm not saying he's going to cost us points by any means, but we're fine getting cameos. And the more comfortable he gets in cameos, and don't forget, he could still play next gen and still has been playing next gen. The cameos that he gets in with us are still great. And if we proceed and start to get him more minutes and say those cameos start to become, well, 73rd minute, 70th minute, whatever, I think it's still good. We're still on a good schedule for Dean Huijsen. Some starts, I would be ecstatic to see him start a game. But I don't think it's like a must, like a necessity for us to do this. And this is also a credit to Rugani. And I'm going to shift the question to, do we need to maybe start looking at Rugani starting more games and potentially even when Danilo is back? When do you start giving Rugani his due over the past couple of years? Does Rugani have to start getting into more games?
You can make the argument. You can make that argument, but Danilo's the captain of his team. Like he his consistency. I'd say his consistency over the past 2 seasons has earned him a starting role. You can I'll be happy to watch people throw monkey shit at each other over Gatti versus Rogani. Those two are 1A, 1B for me.
Here we go with this, and this is my take on it. While I agree Danilo should be in because of his consistency, and that's a big thing. And one of the things I said about captaincy is you have to do it on the pitch. I know that people want and expect way better in terms of quality. However, consistently giving the effort required 120%, and for the most part, his performances are good at the back. And I said, I think we would appreciate Danilo seeing him out for this stretch. And I don't think we're necessarily feeling it all of a sudden so far. I don't think we're feeling it as much as I would anticipate, but we still got to wait until the Cagliari match for him, potentially the Inter match. And
20 days, right? So that's quite a while.
it puts it to Cagliari, but if he can't get into the Cagliari match, there's international break right there, and then it would become the Inter match for Danilo's potential return.
If we get full points against Verona and Fiorentina, I don't see him playing the Cagliari. I could maybe on the bench and getting a cameo at the end, but there would be no rush. There's none of these games. Maybe the Fiorentina match, but
what I'm going to
there's
get
nothing
into
in these
here,
games to rush him back.
what I want to get into here is though that maybe we need to be rotating more regardless of playing one competition. And I'm going to say this looking at guys like Timothy Weah, looking at guys like
Mm-hmm.
Cambiaso and Kostic and what's going on there on the left side. Iling Jr., I've completely written off at this point. I don't know what it is. I don't expect to see him a single minute until he's probably shipped out in January. And I have no explanations for it, okay?
No
But
clue.
based on these guys coming in, and then it was like, okay, nobody's really grabbing the bull by the horn, so to speak, on these sides, especially the left side between Kostic and Cambiaso. Then Cambiaso comes in yesterday, looked like the Cambiaso at the start of the
Yes.
season that we wanted to see. So rotate him in. Rugani, the fact that he has been solid every time called upon for a couple of years now, rotate him in. Rotate him
Mm-hmm.
in. There's no harm in getting some rotation in. I know that some people get fired up when they don't see certain names on the starting roster, but man,
Lucci.
keep these guys fresh, keep the rotation up, keep the battle up for the starting roles, and we'll be fine. But one of our main things still is the creativity, the link up between these guys. Yesterday, when these players came in, Miretti, Vlahovic, Cambiaso, Chiesa, there was a big shift. There was a big
Mm-hmm.
shift, and you would expect that big shift. That's a positive. That's a positive that we can hang on to, saying that when these guys are in, we should be able to take care of business. Okay?
Should
At
be.
least test a keeper before the 60th minute. Okay? So
That's
we
a
should be
problem.
able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I still have questions in the middle of the pitch. McKennie in the middle of the pitch. What is everybody's thoughts? What are everybody's thoughts on McKennie in the middle of the pitch?
Didn't hurt us yesterday, but to your point, not creating as much as if again, he is an aerial problem when he's in the box, but he wasn't getting in those positions. Great throw-ins. His throw-ins are basically another corner kick. Okay, good. That's another positive. But in terms of creating around the area and getting the ball to Vlahovic's feet or the striker's feet, that's two games in a row when he's in that right middle attacking midfielder position that it just the creation wasn't coming there. Even when we're up a man, it wasn't happening.
Yeah, I just, again, and it's not so much for McKennie on his own, but my concern is when you have a midfield of Rabiot and McKennie, you lack creation. Rabiot, interesting enough, was creating some problems.
Mm-hmm.
But when he
Two.
creates problems, it doesn't necessarily do a whole lot for the others. It's like kind of like him on his
Mm-hmm.
own and kind of doing his thing and rolling up there. He did set up Keane that has to be a goal. That came after we were up a man already. What we did at even strength needs to be increased. That's something I would be flipping out at if I was Max and throwing my jacket around and tie, be for shit like
So
that.
stupid.
But Mad Max, gonna be Mad Max. Some things never change. Old habits die hard. McKennie in
No,
the
they
mid,
don't.
maybe as a Rabiot sub, and that would make some sense to me and whatnot. The other thing is Miretti's hit and miss, but yesterday when he came on, I actually liked what he was doing. And he was doing something that Locatelli was struggling with tremendously, and that was reading the pressure. Had his head on a swivel. Second he got the ball, would release it and was finding the right progressions. Was very much involved. Got Vlahovic an opportunity based on his pressure on Milan's player trying to get it out of their zone. Miretti's going to be hit and miss. We can't bank on the young guys to be our saviors. But
Mm-hmm.
we do have to still integrate guys like that. So I don't want to see the McKennie show here on out. You still have to mix it up. And that's what I'm saying in terms of our other positions. Weah on the right. And I thought Weah did a good job yesterday. Kostic, Cambiaso, since we're not going to use Illing whatsoever, rotate these guys. And even at the back,
Wild.
rotate these guys. Keep it going. Keep it fresh. I don't think
Now
we need to
McKennie has
lock
been
in.
playing. McKennie has been playing well when he was playing on the wing,
Yeah,
which
he
is
was playing
unfortunate
good as
because
a right wing
Weah
back.
also
Whatnot.
plays well out there.
But
So
yeah, and that's the thing. We're gonna be short. What did I say? Max can be very predictable. Everybody said this is what I would do in the middle of the pitch. I still think we need to tweak it. But I said get ready for the same 3-man midfield and enter McKennie. He's gonna do it. He did it. That's the way he sees it. That's how he's gonna rock. But at the end of the day, massive 3 points, everybody. Okay.
Huge.
Don't care how they come. You just
Nope.
got to see a way through. Let's get Vlahovic in the lineup. Let's get Chiesa in the lineup. Fans are starting to get frustrated with these players and their injuries and getting them in there. We need these guys. And I think it's evident yesterday they create problems and they're our handful for the other teams. No discredit to Milik and Keane. I thought Milik did a good job yesterday,
He
but
was okay.
not a crazy impact. I thought Keane, this was an interesting one. Would you have taken Keane or Milik off at that point when they made that substitution? I don't think Keane should have left. I would have left Keane in there. I thought he was doing well.
Vlahovic plays, from what I've seen, Vlahovic plays better with Milik because Milik does the dirty work, like retreating back towards the center line, collecting the ball, like all the stuff that. Now Vlahovic, he was poor at it last year, but this season with his back to goal, bringing the ball down, distributing it to the midfielders, and then turning and running, he's been a lot better at that this year, a lot better. But Milik is much better than he is at it.
Yeah.
And I think it opens up more for Vlahovic when he plays with Milik, I think.
Yeah. And Keane is doing everything well instead of scoring.
But that's it. His job is to score.
We can't
like a goalie's job is to stop it.
Huge. Huge shout out to Justin. Real quick. Sorry, Anthony. Gifted 10 HAC memberships. Legend. Nice. Look at that. Look at that. Everybody means. Say what's up to awesome. Justin. Proud member of the Baltimore official fan club. Also, great group out there. But massive gesture there. And we should mention that this is also should be a tribute to Ron Rusitano. As Ron Rusitano. And I guarantee you he was up top, up above, enjoying that one yesterday, the 1-0 win against Milan. He was a legend for gifting memberships around, and massive friend of the channels. Great guy. We miss him.
Chat's about to be on fire.
So
the WhatsApp chat with the members. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'm about to get about 1 billion notifications. All right.
Now, let's get into it.
Rest in peace, Ronnie.
Rest in peace, Ron. Miss you, buddy. Miss the good laughs, the good messages every day from that guy, man. Do you believe Samardžić comes in and carries on his Udinese form, or does he conform to our defensive safety-first approach? If it's a latter, is there even a point in bringing him? All right, so Dels.
There's a lot of questions there, Dels. The first one is no. Do you believe he comes in? No.
Yes.
Do you believe he comes in January?
Yes.
Wow, interesting.
We're bringing in a midfielder and an attacker.
I believe Udinese giving him up, but
again, I know that today we're hearing, that it's Højbjerg still in there, but Romeo Agresti said there's absolutely zero indications he's getting.
No phone calls.
In terms of Højbjerg being a guy. I believe, and I've said this for a while now, it's going to be one of Sudakov or Samardžić. Obviously, I prefer Samardžić. I think the deal is just beauty, too. Second part, so we disagree on that. I think he's coming.
Okay, so help me out here. So I'm going to need you to answer this because, again, why the hell would I watch Udinese play? Like, I got to cut the grass. I got hedges to trim. Why the would I watch Udinese play? Where would this guy play? Now, I've seen him play.
He's a midfielder. He's going to play where McKennie plays, and he's going to bring creation.
He plays in that same position. I thought he was more central when he was playing with Udinese, but in terms of the middle of the park, not so much on the side. But
and you're right because of how he plays. So he's a creative force, and he'll get the ball. He could take it on the right, and he'll cut in. He'll almost play as a 10 sometimes because of his abilities and whatnot. And he's this season, with them not having Deulofeu and a ton of injuries, they sold Beto in the summer, so Udinese has no goal-scoring threat up from the striker position, and it's been them in the ass. He's literally been creating anything and everything that they've been getting has been through Samardžić. So do I believe he carries on his form? Yes, because I just think he's got abilities that a guy like McKennie doesn't have. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that, yes, he could bring that because Samardzic, he can dribble out of the midfield. He can get in there. He can create space. He can switch a ball from the midfield from his spot that McKennie's not going to switch that ball. He could cross one from anywhere into the mixer. McKennie's not going to do that other than when he's down the flank and in deep.
Mm-hmm.
Then his crossing gets really good. Samardzic can pinpoint one from way back just outside the circle.
How old is this kid?
I think he still carries on his form. Yes. He still has to work defensively. All midfielders have to. So, yeah, I think he still has an effect. Is there a point in bringing him? Absolutely. Because as
21 years old.
if we were
Perfect.
missing these guys in Fajoli and whatnot, Samardzic has the traits Fajoli carries in terms of vision, in terms of ball playing ability, all that, and he could score. So yeah, we're missing that. We've got no Pogba, we got no Fajoli. I get it. We boosted Nonja up, and I'm happy for him, but these guys are not the saviors, guys, and even Meretti. He's not the savior, and we got to start looking elsewhere. Meretti plays the game completely different. Meretti's short passing and
Mm-hmm.
1-2s. Samardzic isn't like that. Samardzic can carry the ball, drive it forward, and then distribute. It's different. He's a good mix, Samardzic. And yes, his form will carry on. And we'll see it because he's coming in January.
Now, the
I'm not
Vlahovic
betting on it
purchase.
though.
No, no, I lost every bet yesterday. The we are losing Vlahovic. I don't really see that happening. But speaking of Vlahovic, you and I can remember when we did the show when we bought that son of a bitch, and we were like, unbelievable. So I will never again say that anything's out of the realm of possibility in the January window. It's always, a long
Even the
shot.
Bremer one.
But that was at the end of the season. I'm talking about it specifically January. A team like Udinese who needs this player to stay up, why would they sell him? But then again, you want to know some money talks, baby. Money talks. You throw a bunch of Chicote at them, they might say, "Yeah, well, we need it."
Well, yeah,
Going down to Serie,
especially
we're
if
not gonna get that
you're
money in Serie B.
are you gonna turn that season around? Are you banking on those guys enough? They lost Beto in the summer. It's like, are you gonna do enough to stay up? Do you take your money now? Take
Taking
some
money
deals
now.
now
Yeah.
while they're on the table? It's gonna be interesting. I think Samardzic is coming January, and I hope so because I think he'll do great.
Somebody is.
We've
That
got.
Fajoli issue is a problem. Damn it.
So, what's your opinion on the Illing Taram swap? So,
What the hell happened to Ailing?
theoretically,
We have no idea.
if it was gonna happen, okay, which it isn't. But if Illing could be sold or even swapped, whatnot, say he brings 20 million, that cuts the price down. The price that we were getting isn't even right. And I said the whole time, Taram, I don't expect to be moved in January. And Romeo
I
Gresti
think
said the same
Romeo
thing.
said that, yeah.
He's not moving in the winter mercado. He's going to be there till season's end. At
Hmm.
last season's end, Taram also was at £8 million salary demands when Liverpool was the team trying to bring him in. And also the price tag apparently at that point was 60 million euros to purchase. I don't see Taram maybe in the summer, okay? But if you wanted to use Illing Jr. to bring the price down, I'm okay.
Yes.
I'm okay with it because something's going on and I would have to expect it's behind the scenes. Maybe he doesn't want to extend, whatever, but this guy can't get any minutes and I don't understand it, okay?
But then that means we have Kostic for another year.
Which I'm okay because Cambiaso is over there as well. And the other thing with Illing Jr. is I've been saying this for a long time, everybody. We're not going to keep all of our young guns. It's not
Nope.
going to happen. You're just not going to. And at the end of the
Rovella?
day, Juve's main goal should be to increase the quality on this roster. In doing so, it's not going to all be young players. There's going to be some experience that has to come in too. So, with that being said, there's not going to be room for all of the young guys. Sule, I'm going to revert everyone's attention back to Sule, who is absolutely putting in great shifts, match in, match out with Frosinone. This is why Miretti also needs a loan desperately to get his bearings about him in
Fully
the
agree.
league at some place that doesn't carry the pressure that Juve does, and get him going. And then let's see what happens. But Sule coming back, that gives us a little breathing room in terms of the forwards as well. He may not even be brought back. He may be extended by Juve as a posturing thing to sell. We don't know. But
So
Sule could come back. Sule could come back.
did we get another Storm the Bar in there? I thought we did. Okay, no, but how many pieces, in your opinion, how many player purchases are we away from being legitimate? I'm not even going to talk about Europe because that's a whole different beast. Legitimate Scudetto contenders next season. How many player purchases? The number that immediately pops in my head is 3.
3 players in the summer for next season?
That's right.
Yeah.
At least 3 purchases. A fullback, a midfielder, 2 midfielders.
We got to wait. We know there's talks about Rabiot contract extension. Like all these things are going to kind of play into effect. But you would think 3 or 4 for sure. If you're,
I don't think it's 5. Like Alex P said, I don't think we're that far.
Well, if one of them's a freebie, yeah, maybe 2 are frees. Who knows? We got to wait and see everything. But a center back, everybody. This is why I say no Scalvini. That price tag, come on, no. If you bring in a center back, he's got to be experienced. But Gatti's just raking up the experience this season, which is great. Huijsen, who knows where he finishes off next year. Then he's 19 years old going into next year. Let's see what happens. Rugani, everybody. Rugani's getting a contract extension. Still got Danilo around. Bremer. Let's take it easy. Do we ever make a switch to the back 4? That's a question we got. And to your point, you bring in a fullback. All of a sudden, maybe you make that shift, and then center backs, I think we're okay, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
but
we're fine center back.
We'll see. Now, Berto, do you think Samardzic and Nicolucci will be the new incoming midfielders for the winter mercado, or that Belgian
one's
next
already
gen?
here.
Look, I think
play.
one midfielder is what we get. So if you want to consider the others, they'll be around. I mean, Miretti will still be around. Nicolucci Caviglia might actually go out on loan in January, so we have to wait to see. Nonje, I don't know if he's going to stick around. If we bring in a midfielder, though, then you've got Miretti as well. McKennie. Yildiz has been hinted at being able to play in there as well for coverage as an attacking mid. Man, we should do that anyways, just to see it. But we'll see what happens. I think we're only going to see one midfielder in the winter mercado, okay? Everybody, reminder, get those likes up. Let's go. Andrew, great seeing you. Yes, after the win, big win. Look, we still got to get our shit together in terms of play. We know that yesterday, big win. But Juve, we're capable of much more. Hopefully it's down to those big guys, right? Chiesa, Vlahovic, etc. Next up, we've got Verona. You look at the table right now. This is what we're used to seeing. It takes me back to the glory days there when it was Inter AC and Juve always around the top there. Fiorentina, Napoli at 17 points. Okay, so 3 points behind Juventus. Fiorentina, of course, playing Empoli today, which should be a rout. Empoli scored 1 goal all season so far in 8 games. So Fiorentina should be going up to 20 points level with Juve. AC at 21 and Inter Merda at 22. It's going to be right down to the wire, you guys. Right down to the wire. I don't expect anything to really change there. Salernitana and Cagliari play into a 2-2 draw. I thought this was going to be the weekend, his birthday weekend. Ranieri was going to get sacked. Not the case. Managed to tie 2 winless teams. Still can't get a win, and they're playing each other. Unbelievable. Toilets.
Don't even know who he coaches.
Come on, man. Now,
no idea.
Bremer has been pretty good, bro. Why to sell him? Who has said sell Bremer? Oh, right here. Do we sell Bremer, I've not been impressed with him since he arrived. Wow.
Man,
Wow.
I'll just say I strongly disagree with that statement.
Well, yeah, like elaborate. I don't know. I've seen two
What hasn't been impressive? Okay, maybe not impressive, but what has been poor about his play?
I've seen like two poor matches from Bremer, like poor matches.
He should have had
Shocking
10 goals
matches.
last year.
But as far as not being impressed, I can't say I feel the same way.
Yeah, I'll disagree
I
with that one.
I think he's solid. I think he can shut down those target guys very, very well.
Maybe
In
this is a
terms
question
of,
for like a general question. What do people want from their center backs? Like, what do you want?
I could maybe agree with this. Maybe a little inconsistent. Okay, okay. But as far as like not impressed, I don't think so. I
Selling
think I've
them?
been very impressed. Um,
Yeah, Bremer's the least of our worries. Good job, Animesh.
and Wing of
Like,
Winter is saying agreed. Disappointing with Bremer since we lost to Napoli. Wow.
since
Okay.
last January?
I'm not feeling the disappointment in Bremer. And I mean, I'll be quite honest. The way I feel about Bremer is a lot different than that because for me,
Mm-hmm.
Delict, we were overpaying for what we were getting from Delict. I feel strongly about that statement. So Bremer coming in at less, for less, I've been happy. And I don't think Bremer is an issue whatsoever. Like whatsoever. Um,
Bremer is a better center back than Delict. Or for me, it's not even close.
I just, yeah, I
Not even close.
can't get on the same wavelength of being disappointed with Clayson Bremer.
Now, has every game been stellar? No, no. There's been hiccups, but
So Vincenzo wants to hear it. Bremer versus Delict. Let's go. Um, I just
Bremer.
that's how I feel. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Delict when he came over, and I loved the guy, and I was
Yeah,
always
he's
rooting
all
for
right.
him, and I think he put in some good shifts. But it's tough too because I felt a certain way about his character because he jumped at the first opportunity right when he was about to get handed the keys, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
Bremer, yeah, there's a little bit of emotion there because, you know, obviously we stole him from Inter Merda, which makes it that much better. But
Amazing.
I don't know. Bremer, for me, plays to his size a bit more. And, you know, kind of like I don't know. His positioning is solid. Like I think he's okay. I think he gets bit sometimes here and there, but he reads the game. I think a lot better than Delict. Like usually in the right position. Delict makes great tackles, great challenges, and some are last ditch. He's very good at, but that's also a symbol that you're out of position and you've been like you've caught something. And
Mm-hmm.
all those old school guys tell you all the time. Maldini was famous for it. If I have to slide, I've made a mistake. Bremer more often than not is in the right spot. I
Yeah, there's there's a comment here. The wings of winter. Where did he put it? Somebody mentioned something about shit. Where'd it go? Not being the type of sort of center backs that we used to have. Where did it go?
and this is a fair statement too. That Bremer might be more suited for three back and Delict more for four. Sure, but I think, and I've talked about this a lot. It's about the pairings. If you're gonna play a back four, your two CBs need to make sense to one another. And for me, a lot of the people that are making the shout, Bremer and Gatti, they don't complement each other in a two-man pairing as center backs. For me, they don't. I could be wrong until we see it or whatnot, but you need like a ball player and you need a physical guy. You need a general there that could play the ball, control the ball, that also dictates what that physical brute does. And we kind of used to have that before, but we'll see. Bremer is
Yeah,
better than Delict, of course, but not like our center backs in the past.
like
You know what's interesting?
so. My
Go
thing with
ahead.
this is, we got to stop looking at who we had 8 years ago. Like you got to look for this is who we have now. Like
Fucking Alex P.
people saying why like Medetti's, comparing him to Marquisio. What are we doing here? What are we doing? You know what I mean? Like
You
you
know what's
can't
funny?
compare. you can't compare these players. Just Bremer is who he is, and look at his partners. He doesn't have the same partners that Chiellini had. Like comparing players now to the legends that we've had, I don't see that being advantageous at all for your mental health. You're just going to make yourself frustrated doing that.
So what's interesting is Chiellini obviously was with the Vancouver fan club on Friday there, and they got a chance to sit down and talk to him. And I was asking these guys yesterday, what did you talk about with Chiellini? Like, tell me about your conversation. The one goes, well, I just was talking to him about the BBC and just how incredible it was watching them and everything. And Chiellini's immediate reaction was this, and he's so humble. He's such a nice guy, but he said, we were okay defenders. He's like, we were good defenders, like himself, Bonucci, Barzagli, but he says we were incredible because of Buffon, Gianluigi Buffon and whatnot. So this is like Chiellini himself saying that they're just okay defenders, and obviously he's full of shit because he's spectacular and he was still great even after the days of
you could make
Buffon.
the argument that Buffon was good because of those three.
It's well, I don't think you can do that. Buffon was
he helped.
beast.
Yeah, but those three helped a lot more than people give them credit for.
They're all gonna throw the thing around at them, but guys, like, these guys are like a different breed, man, a different cut, and it's like we can't keep comparing these guys there. But Buffon was an absolute beast, and all these guys like Barzagli, you can maybe say that he was great because of the group, but I think that's just because he came to us for nothing. He was like this kind of just this guy that was moving around, but all these guys pick him as one of their best in their top 11s and stuff like that. But
point.
Like he was good. Chiellini for me was the best out of the three. In my personal opinion, Chiellini was the best out of the three.
I would agree with that.
Buffon is an absolute freak show and always has been, and just it makes no difference who the hell's on the pitch. The guy's a freak. Yeah, he's a freak show. So, Ant, I gotta strongly disagree with the point that those guys made Buffon.
I didn't say that. I said those three did a lot, helped out a lot more than people want to give him credit for. Buffon is a legend, of course.
Yeah, they helped, but
them saying like Buffon did all by himself. Stop it.
Like Chiellini's point, you're saying.
Correct.
Yeah. Chiellini's just being a nice guy and super humble and whatnot, but like, yeah. And Alex B saying, I will fight people for disrespecting Barzagli. Barzali's that's one of the kits. They
all pick him.
That's one of the kits I've always wanted to get. And yeah, that is interesting, right? So Mirko Di Natale, Romeo Agresti, all these guys they pick Barzagli.
In the top 11.
Yep. Instantly in there. It's very, very interesting. And when we're saying exactly what Chiello said, we used to play as a unit. Bremer can't do that. Danilo, Gatti are better in chemistry. Why can't Bremer play with... I don't understand how he doesn't have chemistry as a defensive unit with them. I'm not getting that. We've only conceded 6 goals. Inter has conceded 5. We had the one game where 4 of those goals were scored, you guys. That means in 8 games... We've conceded twice. I'm failing to see that the back line is a problem, you guys. Like, our problem is
the other end.
Yeah. Our problem is not defense. Like, I'm not understanding this battle for defensive issues. I'm not seeing it. It's literally what we're doing in the midfield that affects the attack. And I'm going to die on that hill. We need some help in the midfield, but not just help in terms of personnel. It's not just personnel. It's how these guys are used. It's shape, it's setup, it's everything. But yesterday against Milan, any way it comes, you guys, we take it, okay? Big 3 points there. Had a couple Milan fans in there at the watch party yesterday, but they were really quiet, and luckily we made them even more quiet. Beautiful, beautiful stuff, okay? Beautiful stuff. I take, call me petty, call me whatever you want, but I take great pleasure in watching them have to watch us celebrate the Locatelli goal, okay? Absolute beauty because the place was rocking. But we'll get to a couple more questions as we wrap things up. Got about another 5 minutes. Should Kostic stay on the bench? Well, we talked about this earlier. I just want to rotate. Just rotate.
Yeah, what happened to Illing? Does he
Man,
some venereal disease or something? He can't
I
play.
don't think he's gonna be staying.
That's
I think it's
weird.
clear. And it
It's
sucks.
really weird. Yeah,
But it's not even helping the sale value. So you're gonna sell this kid. It's like you're not
not in the
showcasing him
slightest.
whatsoever.
Nope. Unless they
I
have
can't
cameras on the training field, but
yeah, I can't
yeah.
understand it. Cambiaso did look very good, but this is what I was talking about in terms of rotation because Cambiaso had some poor showings in that middle two where Kostic started to look like he was getting back into it, but
He
Kostic
did.
only had one good showing too. So it's been that spot is
It's
open.
cursed.
It's open for the taking, so rotate him. Rotate him. And I wouldn't hesitate to make a switch at halftime if it's not going the way it needs to, but we'll see what happens. Everybody's got mixed feelings. I put a couple fans on the spot yesterday and saying, hey, is Juve winning the Scudetto? Are they doing it? And everybody's like, we feel like it can happen. Everybody says the same thing. They
Yes, they
can
are.
do it. They can do it. Sure,
Mm-hmm.
we can. But it's games like that where you get the 3 points, but have we really answered many questions in the
No.
performances? No. And that's kind of the thing, right? It's still kind of unconvincing. And the thing is here, though, Milan, and I said this on the preview show yesterday, they're still kind of unconvincing. They were top of the table for us playing. I said, they don't convince me. And if we want to look at Inter, I'm not convinced by Inter either. Like, I think Inter's going to have drops across
They already
the
have. Yep.
road as well too. So I think we're in for what I called in the summer, a tight race right down to the bitter end. I don't know how, and I don't care how ultimately, if it is shithousing, I don't care. I'll take it any way we can get it. But I think we're going to be into this one right down to the bitter end. Hopefully, we get some recruitments in January. But,
Need it.
you know, tactically and everything, again, some feel defense is out of. I don't feel that way at all.
It's like talking about our goalkeeper issue. We don't have an issue at goalkeeper. We have two starting goalkeepers.
Let's
The other end is a
sort
problem.
out what happens up front. And maybe, just maybe,
Mm-hmm.
we just can't get away from the fact that we rely on Chiesa and Vlahovic. Those guys were two
Mm-hmm.
main sources of our goals before they had those injuries and everything. Let's go. Let's go. We're going to get these guys back. Hopefully keep the train rolling. Hopefully these other guys slip up. So round of 10 for Serie A. As far as the clubs we need to watch, obviously we're going to face Verona. Inter's going to play Roma. And Napoli is going to play AC Milan. So get ready for a weekend in round 10 that could also change the outlooks and change the feelings around the club, because after Verona, I believe Juve is going to face is that
Fiorentina.
it's Fiorentina and then Cagliari.
Mm-hmm.
And right around that time we should be getting Danilo back, so it's going to be interesting. But great positive showing yesterday from Huijsen. Rugani keeps the run up, and Locatelli finally getting a goal contribution again, and Tech with a massive save to keep this team from going 1-0 down, okay? Because we don't want to play from behind. That's another question that follows this Juve team that we don't even want to find out about, okay?
Oh, one up
So
on this year. We're down
those are
1-0.
all the positives. We take those into the weekend against Verona. We'll be back for the match day live. I'll be doing a watch along. Okay, had to miss the watch along yesterday because I went and joined Vancouver. But again, these clubs are awesome. Can't stress enough. Show some support. Join the one closest to you. And from the club, I got to share this with everybody because it does affect you. Okay. And a massive thank you to James. Again, got married. Congratulations. But this guy's a legend. Okay, so he got one personalized for me, for Alberto, from Giorgio, one for
Awesome
my
photo.
father. All right. Big thank you. But I got a couple extras. Okay. Got a couple extras here. Oh, got a couple extras signed from the man himself. These are going to be given away with our King Kong t-shirts to two lucky subscribers. You are going to find out.
Shit, I gotta subscribe. How do I do that?
You're going to find out how you can get your hands on a couple of these 8x10s with a King Kong tee. All right. So there you go. Pretty cool. I asked, and I couldn't believe, with a packed house, like 50 people in this room, in this hotel where he was staying at, LAFC, playing Whitecaps. I really appreciate James taking the time to do that and making sure he signed everything. And yeah, you guys keep your eyes peeled for this giveaway. It's going to be cool. 2 King Kong shirts and the signed 8x10s from the man himself. All right. Paste to subscribe. Share the content. Let's go. Ant, any closing words before we sign off on this one?
No, I just got a burp, but I'll just wait till after the show to deal with that.
Jesus. All right. Chippers. No, he can't have chippers. He loves them, but he just can't have them. So
Too much salt.
All right, everybody. Daily updates coming. Keep your eyes peeled for the giveaway. Okay. And there's kits. The kits giveaways start off right around this weekend's match. Okay. We got a lot of giveaways coming up. This is the channel to be at. Like the video, subscribe, share the content. Big win. Yeah, we still want more, but hey, take the 3 points any way you can get them. I would rather win ugly than not win at all, right? A win is a win. Take it. Take it. Chiesa, Vlahovic, get your asses back in that 11, okay? Get your asses back in there. We need you. As always, fino alla fine. Forza Juve. I'll see you on the daily updates, and then we'll be rocking the next match week. Take care, everybody. Ciao.
Yeah.